The Pokemon Rom Hack Elite Redux is basically known for being power creep the game, and with absurd Pokemon like Primal Cascoon and Primal Victini, I can see why people call it that. A common saying in the community was, if everything's broken, then nothing is. Well, they've since moved away from that philosophy and shifted more towards balance, nerfing a ton of Pokemon in the process. Whether that's ability changes or massive move pool cuts, lots of Pokemon are not as strong as they once were. So in this video, we'll look at some of the biggest nerfs in Elite Redux. Skullburst is a brand new evolution given to Mightyena. It was introduced in the 2.5 beta and was an absolute menace right away. It had amazing stats with 135 in attack and 115 in speed, so it hit very hard. It also had a fantastic typing of Dark Ghost, meaning it only had one weakness to Fairy. With the ability Multi-Headed, all of its moves would hit 3 times, giving them even more power. This was just one of its innate abilities. Strongjaw was another one, so all of its biting moves were really strong, including Stab Crunch and Shadow Fangs. With them hitting 3 times, Focus Sashes and sturdy Pokemon couldn't get in its way. The last ability, Guard Dog, made it immune to Intimidate, so even that wasn't a way to slow it down. What put it over the top though is the choice ability being Moxie. Throw a choice scarf on it, and after just one knockout, the +1 to attack would be enough to sweep entire teams. It was truly an insane Pokemon, but it couldn't stay like this for long. The full version of 2.5 would nerf it heavily, taking away its ghost typing and making it pure dark, removing its ghost stab and giving it more weaknesses. Then they made Strongjaw a choice ability so it could no longer be paired with Moxie. And the final nail in the coffin was removing Multi-Headed entirely. Its sweeping potential was severely damaged and had way more counters. It's not a terrible Pokemon in this current state, but it's a far cry from what it once was. Arboliva used to be a real problem in Elite Redux. When it was first added to the game in version 2.0, it was almost unkillable. Arboliva was given Ripen as a choice ability, which would double the effect of berries when consumed. Citrus berries would restore half its HP instead of the normal 25%, so it had solid recovery. But this berry often wasn't a one-time thing because it had the innate ability Big Leaves, which is actually 5 abilities at once: Chloroplast, Chlorophyll, Leaf Guard, Solar Power, and most importantly, Harvest. Setting the sun up would guarantee its citrus berry would be restored after each turn, giving it back its amazing recovery. Its special defense was already solid, and with the innate ability Overcoat, special moves were reduced even more against it. So it would demand a physical attacker to take it out. However, the Seed Sower ability would punish them severely, not only setting up grassy terrain, but also setting Leech Seed when hit with a contact move. Whatever damage it received was almost always erased. Then it would just hit your physical attacker with a Strength Sap, and it was over. Arboliva was heavily nerfed in the 2.5 update. Ripen was removed and replaced with Absorbent, which just isn't as useful. Big Leaves was also replaced with just Harvest, so it could actually be statused in the sun, and it wouldn't hit as hard. Seed Sower was changed to heal the party's status conditions instead of setting Leech Seed, and many useful moves were stripped away like Spiky Shield, Weather Ball, Sludge Bomb, Mirror Coat, and Dazzling Gleam. Arboliva was one of the scariest grass types in the game, but it's hard to place over many others now. Sableye is one of my favorite support Pokemon of all time and was a solid addition to any team. Prankster was a choice ability giving all of its status moves priority. It could destroy physical attackers with a Will-O-Wisp before they even had a chance to move. Curse could be used to ruin tanky Pokemon. And Trick could force an opponent to hold a choice item they really didn't want, or an Iron Ball to destroy a Pokemon that relied heavily on speed. Fake Out was useful to break sashes and made it very useful in doubles. If it ran the Soul Linker ability instead of Prankster, all damage done to it would be inflicted onto the attacker as well, so blasting it when it was holding a Focus Sash would result in some serious damage being done. Then it would just hit a Recover and use Endure on the next turn. Sableye was a real menace to have to deal with and can deal with a lot of problematic Pokemon. In version 2.5, some of these really useful status moves were removed, like Will-O-Wisp and Trick. Trick Room was added, which was a nice addition, but removing Rain Dance and Sunny Day made it less useful in supporting those teams. Its Soul Linker ability was replaced with Stall instead, reducing all damage done to it by 30% if it moves last. It's a little too fragile for this to matter most of the time. Losing some of these status moves also affected its Mega Evolution as well. The Coward ability kept it safe for the first turn, so it can use a Calm Mind to bring up its special defense, which is slightly lower than its defense. It still has Light Screen, but it's limited in its usefulness. There are plenty of Pokemon that can play this role better than Sableye can currently. Skarmory is known for being a physical wall that's going to set up its Stealth Rocks, set up its Spikes, and hit you with a powerful Brave Bird, and maybe hit you with a Whirlwind once in a while. Its new Mega Evolution was very similar and became even tankier than its base form. Now with a defensive stat of 170, no physical attacker was getting through. A slight bump to special defense was just enough so it wasn't too much of an issue. Mega Skarmory could run the Battle Armor ability, which would block all crits and reduce what little damage it was taking by 20% more. With Fire and Electric being its only weaknesses, there wasn't many physical attackers that could stop it from setting up hazards or with Iron Defense. The innate ability Scrapyard, setting down a layer of spikes with each contact move, would have this done in no time. The higher its defense got, the stronger it became, as the Power Core innate ability allowed it to use 20% of its defensive stats when doing damage. Its recovery wasn't too bad either, as the self-sufficient ability would act as a leftovers. Body Press would be strong enough to really hurt your team even after just one Iron Defense. Mega Skarmory was a fantastic wall of a Mega that could work well as a lead or as a cleanup Pokemon. In recent updates, this Mega was changed to be more of an offensive threat. Neither defensive stat is changed upon Mega Evolving. Instead, attack is raised by 60 and its speed is raised by 40, now sitting at 140 and 130 respectively. All of its defensive abilities were dropped in favor of offensive ones, like Battle Armor being replaced with Flock or Steelworker. Power Core was dropped for Hyper Aggressive, letting all moves hit a second time like Parental Bond. Or Scrapyard being dropped for To the Bone, which greatly boosted critical hits. And for some reason, Body Press was removed from its move pool. However, that's more of a massive nerf to the base form. Admittedly, this Mega isn't bad now at all and can do some interesting things. However, it does get lost in the sea of powerful attackers in this game, where it used to play a much better role as a wall. Ceruledge was one of the most broken, non-legendary, non-Mega Evolution Pokemon in the entire game when it was first introduced in version 2.0. They didn't upgrade its stats from the base games or anything, but they gave it some of the most insane combination of moves and abilities that we've seen. Ceruledge was given Speed Boost as a choice ability, each turn giving it a +1 to speed, which is really useful considering base 85 speed is pretty bad. So just 1 Protect and it's fixed. Then it could use a Swords Dance to double its attack. Focus Sash can keep it alive, but having Battle Armor as an innate ability kept it safe most of the time. This would already make it a great Pokemon, but it still had 2 innates that took it to another level. Dual Wield made all of its slashing moves hit twice, and with them hitting twice at 75% power, they all got a 50% boost to attack. And it was given all the slashing moves it could ever want. Leaf Blade, Shocking Edge, Sacred Sword, Bitter Blade, Excalibur, Leech Blade, Guillotine, Cross Poison, and Shadow Claw. Not only are they much stronger now, but with them hitting twice, Ceruledge could break right through all the Focus Sash Pokemon in this game. With its final innate being Moxie, giving it a +1 to attack with each knockout, it was basically unstoppable. All of the coverage moves, combined with the fact it would basically get a Dragon Dance on knockouts, it was just absurd. So it had to be nerfed, and the punishment was severe. In version 2.5, Speed Boost was dropped completely and replaced with Weak Armor, still doubling up its speed but forcing it to be hit and dropping its defenses in order to activate. Moxie was then moved from an innate ability to a choice ability, meaning it couldn't be paired with Weak Armor so it could be a sweeper. Lastly, they removed a majority of its coverage with its slashing moves, Solar Blade being the only coverage against water types. Ceruledge was an S tier Pokemon, no question. It's still not a bad ghost type now, but it's much harder to get to work as a sweeper. Feraligatr is just one of many victims of the move pool nerfs between version 2.2 and 2.5. It was the exact same Pokemon for the most part. Decent attack power with great abilities like Strong Jaw and Violent Rush. Violent Rush letting it get a 50% speed boost and a 20% attack boost on the first turn. Pair that with a Choice Band and it was incredible to have around. The large variety of great coverage moves, especially the bite based ones, is what made it a top tier starter. It got Lovely Bite, which was a fairy type move, letting it beat other dark types, Iron Fangs, which was a steel type so it could beat fairy and ice types easier, and Shadow Fangs would put all ghost types on high alert. It wasn't just biting moves though. Other great coverage moves included Earthquake, Outrage, and Superpower. Parting Shot made it quite useful in doubles as well. In the latest version, most of these moves were removed, leaving it with less options to run overall. I still think it's one of the better water starters to have, but it can really miss its coverage at times. The Redux form of the Magcargo evolution Escargonite was one of the greatest Redux forms in the game. In my opinion, it was the best Redux form in the entire game at the time of its release. Redux Escargonite is a rock grass type and is actually a tanky Pokemon, having 150 in defense and 100 in HP. Special defense is only 70, but has abilities to help with that. Shell armor is a choice ability and will reduce the damage of all moves against it by 20% while preventing it from being crit. With it setting up stockpile to boost both of its defenses, the last thing it wants is for a crit to go right through the buffs. It was also given overcoat as an innate ability to reduce special damage even more by another 20%. So really getting through it with either physical or special moves is a problem. Impenetrable keeps it safe from poison damage, so you can't even stall it out that way. Stockpile makes it extra tanky while it sets up a substitute, and it takes more than a few hits to get through. Then it hits you with a toxic and watches you slowly go down. Leech Seed providing passive recovery as well as the harvest ability, which will continuously restock its citrus berry. This snail just didn't die. The move pool nuke of 2.5 really hurt this Pokemon though. None of its stats or abilities were changed, but it lost very important moves. Stockpile, Recover, Toxic, Amnesia, Sleep Powder, even Poison Powder were stripped away. Not even Infestation could stay as a form of passive damage. Apple Acid and Salt Cure were also removed. With no longer a good way to deal solid damage and no way to build up its lower special defense, it's just not as great as a Pokemon as it was before. It can still wall out physical attackers, but can't stick around very long if a special attacker shows up, like it could before. It sucks seeing a top tier Redux form get stripped of so many great tools, but these changes didn't make it a terrible Pokemon at least. With the recent move pool changes and an obvious push to make newer Pokemon worth using more than the old ones, there will be even more nerfs in the future. These are just a few of the biggest nerfs in Elite Redux. What Pokemon do you believe has been nerfed the most in recent updates? Don't forget to like the video and let me know if you'd want a part 2. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.